we use when it comes to text sometimes in township office, we have that old, I believe it's 9-sign quote, at least apocryphally. Doing the same thing twice and expecting different results is that definition of insanity. And that does happen with technology.
Or Groundhog Day.
We should be live and good to go.
Great. Okay, so hello everyone. Let's call our final sustainability meeting of 2025 to order at 1:05 p.m. I'll read the land acknowledgement. So we respectfully acknowledge that the township of Cavan Monaghan is located on the Treaty 20 Niitsitapi territory in the traditional territory of the Niitsitapi Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to First Nations for their care, for teachings about these lands. May we honor these teachings. And then moving on to the approval of the agenda. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that?
Move it.
Thank you. Seconded by Lisa. All in favor? Great. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Negative. Moving on to our minutes of our last meeting from June 26th. If we could have mover and a seconder for a motion to approve those minutes.
Have to move.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm looking at you. Thanks, Mary. All in favor? Yes, great. Moving into general business. So we'll do a update on our 2025 work plan, and then we'll move into a 2026 budget discussion. So I'll hand that over to Mr. Phillips.
Should be pretty quick. We're all completed, except for our budgeting. Weather stripping, we know about that, gave all those out.
Yeah.
We're probably not gonna do that one again next year, it wasn't a big sound. Data analysis, we carried that out, that was awesome, that's gonna help inform our ECDM plan. So we're gonna budget for next year, not the committee, it's because it is a township requirement.
Yeah.
We're gonna budget, we do have some quoting in from Alatico, who did the original one, or who did the data analysis to continue on with that, we got some pricing. Really good, so I think we should be able to carry that out, if we get council's blessing. Communication.
Sorry, would reports from that come back here? Like, are we get to see those? Or is
Sure,
that
yeah.
more interns?
No, I think we're totally behind. As it starts unfolding, we can hopefully hit a few of the, or a couple of the meetings before it's gonna take us some time to get through, so we definitely bring some drafts here for comments and definitely. Cause I think one of the original ideas was that we were going to do it, and obviously we've changed that, but yeah, I feel that this is a big committee to help inform us for sure.
Okay.
Rain barrel program, obviously a success, still get people calling me. When it's raining, you got any left, One person who paid at the event never picked up, even in all that July.
Really?
Never picked them up, called me the other day and said, yeah, I paid for my rain barrels, have you got them yet? I didn't want to go through the whole thing of, no, we'll give you a refund, so I just drove out to where so it's actually on, because it was OSM, it's in Keene, but it's actually just 7, just past Lansing, some by the geese and gander, the big goose, just out there. So I met everybody there, really nice people. And I just picked up 2 and brought them to them. So, just so we end on a good note.
Yeah.
And then he was extremely happy because I delivered him right to his house on my way home. So
Awesome.
I want to end it on you didn't want to be like, nah, you didn't get it. And then well.
That's excellent.
Community tree planting program. We know about that, huge success, maybe too much.
Are you guys still recovering from that?
Yeah, when I think about it. But great, it's gonna be way better next year because we learned so much and yeah, we're still getting good feedback from that. Earth Day, obviously, extreme success. So I think we're good, everything is completed and looking forward to next year.
Excellent.
Amazing year.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Well done, very good.
Well done, you guys. Thank you. It's yeah, it was a real, I think, for me, just, seeing the interest in the community was the best part of it. Just to see how many people want to do what they can on their properties to support sustainability. So I think that, we can just take a little bit of joy and pride in knowing that, we helped influence that. Okay, so can I have a motion to receive the updates for the plan? We were in a secondary, moved by Mary, seconded by Mike, all in favor? Great. Okay, so moving on to our 2026 budget discussion. I put this together. I also got the date wrong. But that's fine. This is the slide that
Sorry, Leslie, I should have caught that.
No, I should have caught it. But that's all right. This is the slide deck that we'll use for the budget presentations and also. So if you can go to the first slide, thanks, Nick. You guys all know this. This is really just the background, like legislative requirements as to why we have this committee, why we're doing what we're doing. Also, I added in for this year, since the township completed your strategic plan. So one of the priorities was environmental sustainability. So I think that the work that the committee is doing certainly supports that priority.
Nice reference, strategic plan reference.
Thank you. And then going to slide 2, thanks, Mark. Back, thank you,
Sorry.
perfect. So here you'll see there I've included for our consideration 2 programs from this year, and then 2 possible new programs. As Kyle just mentioned, the rain barrels and the trees were a huge success within the community. So, we start with thinking about, do we want to sell rain barrels again? And if we do, does it make sense to reevaluate the price that we're selling them for, because they were hugely discounted? Not that I think that that's a bad thing, but just looking around to other municipalities and what other conservation authorities have done when they've partnered with municipalities through the rainbarrel.ca program. The price is typically anywhere between $50 to $80 for the consumer or the resident. If you go to Greenup, for example, you're still paying, I think, $130 for the exact same rain barrel that we also sell. So just looking at, how can we really maximize our budget and try to appeal to a larger, group of people in terms of what people may want to do or what they may be interested in doing on their properties. Like, do we want to reevaluate how many rain barrels we potentially may do next year, and then also the cost, just to see if we can make our budget stretch a little bit forward. I know we kind of talked about, do we want to do rain barrels again? Do we not want to do rain barrels again? So just putting it out there for, the committee's feedback in terms of how you feel like this initiative meets like our goals, and also kind of what you may have heard in the community, if the community is still, like, the need is still there and the interest is still there.
I think that the tree program did so well because the ice storm preceded it. So drought and any water issues that were occurring in the township this year would carry forward to our success next year.
I agree. I mean, I think, I do think the drought was a big kind of like an aha.
Are you saying we're successful because of climate change?
Wow.
It's doing well for us.
Yeah. High demand programming.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. I think that the drought really opened people's eyes to just scarcity of water.
Mhm.
And then too, with the water issues we had.
I was gonna say one may bring it.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with that, because I think people don't realize where the water comes from.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how the drought is impacting your actual water source in
Yeah.
the community as well. So maybe it would, I agree with you, Lisa.
And I think if we're going to be discussing the water
conservation.
restrictions, then this stuff goes in.
What are your thoughts, Ryan?
I have to have thoughts?
You don't have to.
You had enough.
I know you do. I know they're in there.
This is 2 committee meetings today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of thoughts.
I thought the rain barrel program was amazing. I don't know whether it will have the same impact as it had this year, just because I think everybody who wanted one has gotten one. So I don't know whether it needs to be as big. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know whether it's the investment like we can put an investment into it. I don't know. I think we just gotta figure out what size of investment it is. Cause like I said, like I think most of the people who really want one have gotten. You know, now they're gonna be buying them for, you know, their aunts and their uncles somewhere else, I'm guessing, right?
And one caveat to that is that because of the drought, we sold them in spring, gave them in the spring, right?
Mhm.
As Lisa pointed out, we had a very, if you're a gardener, severe drought.
Oh, yeah,
And with water restrictions, perhaps it might become more popular
maybe
again.
people buy them more.
Right,
Very true,
Yeah.
true. They might be going, wow, that worked well,
Yeah.
maybe I'll get a second, right? You're right.
Those are the thoughts exactly, and then I gotta get a.
Yeah, all good points, and Ryan's point. I know people, so we're trying, we might ramp it up a bit more for verification of
Okay.
where these are going, because,
That's kind of like,
yeah, we limit it to 2.
Yeah.
Per person, but we had people coming back who were trying to say, no, it's for, I say, have them call me or send me an email to verify their. And I wouldn't get it, so they were totally, and I even, not to be pessimistic, I think there was a couple people who were taking them and selling them for a higher price, so.
Which is why I thought, to your point too, you know, perhaps we reevaluate the quantity that we are in for and also the selling price.
Mhm.
It's $30 is a lot different than $50.
Mhm.
Or $60, or, you know, maybe we
Yeah.
look at increasing the price we're selling them for.
I'm good with the 50 and I'm good with verification. I think that was my biggest problem, was like, we were really subsidizing these, and
Yeah,
I'd hate to guess how many of them left the township.
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
Right.
I support that too, yeah.
okay.
How many you're thinking, 100?
Yeah, I suggested 100, to kind of. Considering the point that probably a lot of people have who wanted one, may have gotten one, but then also thinking about the drought, so I thought maybe 100 was a good number.
Yep, and then-
Can I have a little bit of coaching on this, if this is going to council this one?
Yeah, you can. Do you wanna do it right now or when we're done?
I'll do it right now, just
Okay.
because it ties right back into it, right? Is all the stuff that's on the work plan, like how many do we get through last year? How many trees, how many rain barrels? Should be the first thing you tell council
Okay.
before you start asking.
Okay, okay, I got it.
Right.
So, yeah, so say we did 165,
Right,
and then I don't even know how many trees we ended up selling, because we ordered 665 the first time, and then we went back.
I couldn't even tell you.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think.
So we'll guess.
You gotta jump.
Oh, I could tell you, not in here.
What you think it'll be, what we're asking.
If you want those numbers, I can get them,
Okay.
obviously, but I lost track because we were.
I know, yeah.
And I think, if council has the question, I think it's a fair question. It's probably what I would ask, and I think it's a
Yeah.
fair answer that, yeah, we went quite a bit over, obviously, the ice storm was a factor in there, but we weren't prepared to have the cutoff. So it wasn't fair when we had to line up to just pick a random spot and go, you know what, we're at segment, you get out of here. I
Yeah.
think council would support that we
Yeah.
continue, so it is
Yeah.
what it is, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, and then that's leading into the comment you made earlier is, you know, how can we prepare for next year?
Yeah.
And, try to, roll out the programs in a way that they're accessible to people, just based off of people's feedback from our today.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's really helpful. Did you have any comments, Mike, about the Rain Barrel program? Not
mean,
to
this-
pick on you,
no,
I just
this-
didn't know if you wanted to add anything before we moved on.
This predated me, so I don't,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
wasn't really involved, but as a consumer, as a resident, I was wildly successful. I have 4 new trees in my yard, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so, moving on to our residential tree planting program. I'm suggesting we offer 800 trees, because I figured that's kind of where we landed in 2025. The cost was an average cost of $20 a tree. We sell them for 10. That would cost us $8,000. Which is a little bit more than the 75 we asked for last year. But I think that supports, rolling out kind of both reasonable number based on demand, and then also looking at so Duro, Selwyn, and also the city of Peterborough are now all doing tree programs. So I believe Duro and Selwyn each did 800 trees. Just based on, I think, the demand in the community.
Really?
Yeah, Peterborough, I'm not sure how many they did. offered in total, but I do know that they gave away 300 trees for free. I'm not suggesting we do that, I'm just saying that I think that really demonstrates that the demand is there and people are into doing that.
Mhm.
So when I put a business hat on for a second, and we're doing a $10 rebate,
Mhm.
like, well, if there's such a demand, why not do 15 and then we can do more trees?
Well, what do you mean sell them for 15?
Yeah.
I think we just did $10 because that was kind of what is the going rate in our like geographic area, like our neighboring communities.
I get it, but I know that like so many people went, oh my God, they're $10,
I know,
right? Like that is
Yeah.
insane how cheap they are. right?
yeah,
For what it is, like 15 is really cheap, right? Like,
15 is really
So we're
cheap.
very cheap, you can't buy a perennial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because we're gonna run into going, wow, that's $8,000, but, right, like if we cut it to, you know, if we turn it to 15, then what do we do? It's only costs us 4,000. Like, that's a big difference,
it is a big difference, yeah,
right?
yeah. So-
And I don't know, before you gave that information, about how many of the others sold. The number, I was actually thinking, I'll tell you why, it might not be properly informed, but we sold, yeah, say we sold 800 last year. One of the issues that we ran into was, there was so much interest, all the people called after and emailed after ordering. A lot of them, because they hadn't paid, forgot about it, didn't have time, didn't pick them up. So I don't know how much, unless we plan on doing like, how we're going, if we're going to sell it at Earth Day again, or if we're going to do a different format. I think if we're going to get to the 800 trees, we probably got to do a lot of advertising. Because I don't think we actually, we're
Yeah.
really struggling to get the rest. Everybody's watering every day. Like, I need to get these things done.
People ordered them, that was the issue, like that. was-
Nobody's picking them up.
The
And then,
demand was there, but because they didn't pay for them.
yeah, and it got to the point, like, and it got the drought and everything. People were walking the door, and if I was out here and saw anybody coming to pay their taxes, I'd say, want a treat? Want a treat? It was all day long. So it was a bit of a struggle to get that last 100 out.
Come pay your taxes and we'll give you a tree.
And I love the things that make people think better of the township of not just coming to pay my taxes. If they walked in with a tree, they're.
Yeah, so happy.
Yeah, so you're like, well, that was good,
Happy
but,
taxpayer ever.
but yeah, but I was just like, please take them. I don't want to water, 70 trees out back again today. So it was, the first 700 like went fast. The last 100 was a bit of a struggle. So if we do want to do 800, we probably really got to think about how we're gonna
Yeah,
promote that.
okay,
Yeah.
And, the drawback to $10 is people treat $10 like a coffee.
Exactly.
So investing $10 and not picking it up, there's no urgency. So,
True.
$15 for a tree, and I'm not, but to spread your budget to do different, actually put your, perhaps the native plant garden boxes
yeah,
would be an okay compromise. And perhaps reducing demand slightly even would help
yeah,
with the distribution, because that must have been a nightmare for you.
I'm not a gardener by name. My wife does all the gardening, so I don't know much about how much water you need. So I'm just like overwatering, underwatering. Just trying to get help from other people, and then anyway.
It was
was
just a bargain, I suppose.
Unionized. They did help when they could.
yeah, I think. I think that makes sense, because I do hate the idea of the trees just going to waste, and, and then also to the point of where people not, picking them up, then perhaps we maybe do 2 waves of ordering, so we get all of our orders at Earth Day, and then we place the order for, what people actually want, the demand. We have their money, so, perhaps that will help, but then it's the other administrative stuff about people who miss out, and then they call them and they email, so how do we handle that?
Yeah,
So I think if we have them like on site when they're purchasing, so they just purchase them, gone. Like
Yeah,
on Earth Day, we have
that's
them
what I
all,
was-
we have them all in parking lot set up, you purchase it, you grab it.
yeah, so it just wouldn't happen on
Yeah,
Earth
right.
Day, because they're not
Or
ready by
whatever,
Earth Day,
yeah.
so it just have to be a different day.
Yeah.
We can do that.
But if you do two swings at it, right, so you get your Earth Day ones, which are all pre-order, maybe it's half of them, call it 400. right? But then you do in the fall, maybe, like maybe. even-
Fall planting is a good time to plant trees anyways.
Exactly,
right?
the fall,
Just,
so it's better, like maybe it's one of your outdoor cinema things.
Yeah.
Right, you have 100.
Movie night.
Right, so you
Right.
come to the
Yeah.
theater,
Yeah.
donate $10, you you get a tree.
Yeah.
Right, and that's, you clear out the next 100 then.
That's a good idea, yeah.
You could call it Treater night instead of theater.
The internet.
Trademark
How's
that.
that?
That's when you're not on the market.
Yeah.
Like that.
Is
Is there, not to be,
Yeah.
is there, cause you've mentioned before, I like, there was a number you thought of, I don't know if you remember this from last year, where we are going to use the number of trees. That was like the amount of reduction, give it, yeah,
Yeah.
remember that, it was the goal from the climate change
Yes.
action plan we're gonna use.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if there's a number that's closer to like 700 or something, that's a good number to use to
Yeah.
your marketing. Though I'm
yeah,
not in marketing, you just don't do.
I'm not, yeah,
Um,
no, that's a good, there
it's a
is,
good number.
yeah, I do actually have that, I don't know why I'm drawing a dollar sign. Carbon capture. And the interesting thing too about tree planting is trees capture more carbon when they're young as they're growing.
Mhm.
So another great reason to put
Like-
them in the ground.
Like children consuming food, teenagers.
I do like your idea though, of giving people trees if they come in to pay for their taxes.
It's, if they're doing something
I like
that
that.
makes them think bad, I love,
I hear you.
That's
take
why
the
we-
tree, yeah,
well, we did that book, we call it the Book-and-Bird, the whole library there, because it's just another thing that people come to they see the front, they equate it with changing books, it's just.
about the books, I have a stack of books to put in that bird box.
It's almost there.
I know, and I keep forgetting them, but that's okay. But I like the idea of including the carbon capture for the trees, and I'm not stuck on doing 800 trees. I was thinking like, what did you do last year?
Mm.
And I remember we, like, the 665 stuck in my mind, and then I don't know how many extra we ordered, but I thought it would be maybe 750, 800, so. We also, maybe we could say our max is 800, and then we just order as we either at Earth Day, we order what we have pre-orders for. We have anything left over, we wanna do another round, we do it for I really like the movie night idea, I think that's like genius, and people are, in a good mood, they're coming to a free movie, they're like. "Yeah."
Jeez. Wow.
Jeez.
I wasn't sure whose idea that was, so I should have thought more carefully before I threw that out there. So I don't know, what do you, do we wanna just leave it as is and then we'll reevaluate in the new year with whatever budget we get approved, or?
My only comment on is that 8 grand is gonna be it's gonna be a giant number standing out at a budget meeting, right?
Yeah, last year we asked for 7,500 for trees,
Okay,
yeah,
that's not bad then.
yeah. And if we sell them for 15, then that's gonna bring that 8 grand number way down.
So you just gotta think about that, whether
Yeah.
we wanna do it at 10 or 15.
I think 15 myself, like I still think that's
Yeah.
not
That-
gonna make a
that cuts
difference
that number
between
down
10 and 15,
by
yeah.
4.
Also, you want people to invest enough in it, so they actually go and plant it and look after it.
Yeah.
'Cause it's a lot of work to plant a tree.
Yeah.
You can have, it's a great idea, I'll go plant a tree, and so it's.
So 30, is that what I hear?
35, 30.
Now we can afford.
They're making money.
Now we can afford our native plant gardens.
Yeah.
And I would myself be comfortable with maybe taking it down to like 700. To put
Trees.
more money, yeah, just based on the numbers we had, people already got trees who would be buying trees. There's probably a lot of people who are like, I don't need any more trees, I already picked them up last year, so I think I feel like the demand will be less without knowing that the other places have done
Yeah.
so many, so.
So we'll say seven.
Could backfire, right? Cause people could go, wow, I got these amazing trees
Yeah.
for $10, and then
Mhm.
you have an even bigger line of people. want it's $10. So
Good, yeah.
I guess we'll find out. won't we?
Okay, so we'll do 700 at 15. I do feel like we're in an auction kind of.
We
Yeah.
go once.
Do I hear 30? Do I hear 30?
Okay, great. And then, moving on to, a proposed new initiative. That I think is an affordable way for homeowners to feel like they're contributing to building biodiversity. Helping the birds and the bees, contributing to like climate mitigation strategies is native plant garden boxes. So these will be prepackaged boxes of baby plants, so 1 to 2 year old plants. They would include a package to plant if you have a sunny location, a package to plant if you have a shade location, and potentially a boulevard garden if that's the next thing on our list to talk about if we are able to roll that out. These are great because the plan is for them to come with a planting guide, so where to plant them, how to care for them, and also information about the plants that put in the box. So which ones are keystone plants? Say for example, something like milkweed. That's the only host plant for the monarch butterfly. Monarch butterflies are dangerously close to being extinct. So not only are these native plant garden boxes just a great idea for people who are interested in gardening and want to spruce up their house a little bit, but we also have the opportunity to help raise awareness and educate people, which is another one of our mandates in the CCA. So, yeah, that's just, I think, for you guys to, the committee to think about and consider really the cost. Do we think the cost is feasible? Do we think the amount is feasible? Do we think that the community, this is something the community would be interested in, would be well supported? I know in the region of Halton, so the municipalities within the region of Halton, like Burlington, Oakville, I don't think that, what else is out there? Milton, yeah. They've been running this program for several years, and every year it sells out almost on the first day, apparently. So I just thought, hey, let's consider it. It seems like people are interested in planting things and doing something small to help the environment. So curious to hear what you guys think, or.
I'm just curious, the source for these plants, is that the Omini native plant place or?
So who can do this for us is actually Christina Rennick. So she was our Earth Day. And then she's going to source them from various, my understanding, various nurseries, native plant nurseries.
Right.
Where she gets a good
Right.
price for the most amount of plants. One of them, I believe, is actually in Claremont. One is, I think, Omini, and then there's another one down by Brighton.
I know there's one in Omini.
Yeah.
So they sell where, like, not wholesale.
Yeah. And then the plants that would be selected, of course, would be suitable for our gardening zone and our weather here that we get. I love the idea. I think it'd be great, especially anybody can do it. So if you're living like on a farm somewhere, you're living out, on a side road, you're living in the old section of town, you're living in a new development. This is a program that anybody can leverage, just like the tree program and the rain barrel program. Whether you already have a lot of gardens on your property and you just want to start viewing into those more native plants to support our pollinators and birds and the bees and the butterflies, or you're new to gardening, I think it's a solution that would be beneficial really to anybody who's interested in supporting climate change programming.
I have one other question, that is the box. When you say box,
Mhm.
it's a box plant and then you plant in your garden, or is it a garden box?
So it is a box of plants
Right.
that you would plant in your garden.
So you might want to be clear with that, 'cause
I was picturing,
Oh, I see what you mean.
take the box and
Yeah.
plant, stick it there and it's done, right?
yeah,
You would plant them. I mean, there are, like, we could, an option is to have basically essentially. cabbages. Yeah,
Pre-native plants.
yeah.
Planters.
So you just
Right.
pop them in the ground. This option that Christina is offering through her business is not that. It's
Right.
a box of plants.
And I would
that
just
comes with
be,
a planting
I would
guide.
just be clear with that,
Okay.
because people might assume they're getting
Yeah.
a planter.
Yeah.
Just change it to like native plant
Yeah.
garden bundle or package.
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't picture that, but I can see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah,
That's, right, just picturing exactly that too, so much, but,
yeah. So you gotta put it in the ground.
yeah. That was dead simple.
More often.
Put some up on the porch.
Drop it,
yeah.
go.
Set it down, water
Yeah.
it.
You guys can think the rest of the committee.
I like to hear that it was so popular in Halton, and I enjoyed the education component, which is something that we didn't, I think, lean too hard into with the tree planting. So there's an opportunity there.
75 seems pretty low risk. I think you'd easily sell 75.
Mhm.
I think it's a great idea, because if you think about people, if I think about the new subdivision,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
Like a tree might be too much, like maybe their yard's pretty small, you know, trees consume a lot. You know, maybe these, you know, smaller little bundles just to add to it, I think there'll be a big uptick on that for sure.
Would you say it's genius?
Could be genius.
Thank you.
Reason now, I just wanted to get.
Okay,
that
thank you, yeah,
back.
I appreciate that.
The other piece of this one too, is, you know, we dealt with the David Suzuki thing
Mm.
with the butterfly gardens. And, you know, even tying it back into that, I think those ones wanted a little bit more area.
We're looking at like big gardens,
They
yeah.
wanted a bigger, yeah, but I mean, it's kind of like a micro version.
It is.
If you have enough of them, kick
Yeah,
it.
but it's,
Yeah.
is there,
Oh,
oh,
I know, inspiration just
Light
hit, like, well, in Toronto, I know we're not Toronto, but in Toronto, they will, if say 6 of you and your neighbors get together and each plant a pollinator garden, they will actually promote your little area as like a pollinator pathway. So if you have 6 or more properties, it's just something they do on their website where they give you the designation of giving you signs, City of Toronto signs, and say this is like a pollinator path.
I've
So-
seen them, they're pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. And Street, like the Prince
Yeah.
Street would fall.
yeah.
the same.
no, bye.
I would concur. There's this lady on the corner who has these fabulous gardens.
The whole street. But yeah, I actually think that's an interesting idea too.
Yeah,
right, is
yeah.
promote when you're doing the promotion.
Yeah.
There are a ton of gardens on Main Street in there, yeah.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, yeah.
You see, I like it, and I think if we bump the trees to 15, we can move more money into native plant boxes. I think the 75 will go pretty quick.
I think so too.
And then it just becomes, how do we administer it, and where do we
Yeah.
disperse them?
Yeah, well, I think that the administrative, good question. We could sell them letter if they disperse it, we could do it at the same time as we do the tree.
Yeah, with perennials, you could easily
Yeah,
just get them out on Earth Day, like
Yeah.
buy them, take them home.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep them, you know, they're not gonna come out of the.
yeah.
like
Are
the
they all-
trees were from.
Were they all
They're still
perennial?
pretty, like, that's early.
They would all be perennials.
They'd all be perennials.
Yeah, we are all
Yeah, yeah,
perennials,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I planted, when did you plant all your native plants?
July.
Yeah,
You can plant them
whenever,
as soon as the
Yeah.
frost
Frost is
are
at
around,
end.
the perennial.
yeah.
You still got 2 months of potential frost.
Yeah.
I think what Christina was figuring is they wouldn't be ready for Earth Day anyways,
Okay.
based
That's
on,
intriguing.
yeah.
Oh, I guess, yes, that's
Yeah.
good.
And then, so if we do the same thing we did to the trees, we sell them at Earth Day. And then if we get approval, then it would be, I guess you or Chris reaching out to Christina to get an actual quote and confirm numbers, and then she would package them and bring them to, when we do tree pickup or this movie night idea, because you can also plant, I just planted all my native plants the first week of September, so it's also a really good time to get them in the ground, because then you're not watering them less.
Yeah.
So, you know, for the administration or the distribution, those are options we can look at. The administration, I mean, we'd have to figure that out. Like how
Yeah,
we
no
want to
problem,
do it,
Yeah, same stuff, we can figure it out, yeah.
Yeah, I just think if we have any events like an early May,
As long as you guys are comfortable with that, because I know you guys gets a little antsy about workload getting pushy.
Yeah, I think anything with the committee, she likes how well the committee's doing, so she's, as long as we're fine with it, she's pretty good with it, and
That's great,
we learned a ton
Yeah.
from the last
Yeah.
things, like,
yeah.
yeah,
okay.
I think it'll be better.
Excellent.
Upfront stuff is good, so you're thinking of getting more, of it? Were you thinking, putting more into it? 75 is too low?
What do you guys think? Like, I think it's a great idea, like, I think
Yeah, I
it'll,
think so too.
I think it'll be a hit.
I think it'll be a hit, and
Yeah.
if we're doing 700 trees, but only 75 boxes, you know, maybe we
Yeah.
wanna,
Yeah.
maybe bring the trees down a bit more. I don't
But
know,
so
what
it's
do you
like
think?
Sam, like, if we drop the trees to 4,000,
So if we sell 700 trees for $15, then that's gonna be 3,500.
3,500, yeah.
and then double the native,
So
150
okay,
for 6,000. And you get basically the same money.
yeah,
That's another 12,500, I think, total.
So it'd be 3,000 in for the bare rain barrels, yeah, 12,500.
Well, are we up the price of the ring, or are we leaving it at 30?
No, yeah, so this $3,000 is selling them for 50. Cause then, like we,
Oh, you're selling them 15?
Yeah.
Net cost 30, I get you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
cause they're $80 to buy. So, and then this box cost that I quoted here is like, my understanding will be Christina's like business cost. So if we do them in bulk, there might be a little bit of, like, might be able to get
Okay.
a better price.
Hmm.
But I guess, she'll, if we get approval and we reach out to her, then she'll give us a quote and we can go from there. But I just used the math number because I thought that's easy for us to budget with.
We're not gonna run into sole sourcing issues at this level, right?
I don't think at the dollar values, no. We'll double check, Bill, it wasn't back in my head too, because we're going.
think we're
Yeah,
good.
no, I think we're fine,
Okay, so those are really, I think, our big cost programs. And then the next suggestion is more of a policy. Allowing residents, within the municipality to have a boulevard garden. So if that, or if another lawn that is between the sidewalk and the road, that is owned by the township, where your tree is. And I think this is a question, I don't know the answer to, where the boulevard lies on a property that doesn't have a sidewalk, like how far back up the lawn does I don't know if it matters. But essentially this boulevard program we would allow people to plant. They have to be native plants on the boulevard, following, certain rules that would be, I guess, devised by like your team and then Public Works.
Mhm.
Because they don't block the view, they don't impede snow removal. By blocking the view, I mean traffic, like when you're backing into the Broadway. And other than that, I just wrote down for the cost estimated to be like, say, $500 if we want to do signs, like, so like Township of Cabin Monaghan, this is David Suzuki Butterfly Garden, like if we can get the boxes to meet the requirements of that. Then we can have a little sign that says that, or we can say Township of Cabin Monaghan, this is a pollinator garden, we're building biodiversity. If there's any communications materials, so I just threw in like $500 just to say, like, is that reasonable for the essentially communications materials or marketing materials?
So, and I'm sorry. go
yeah.
ahead.
Okay.
Just to be devil's advocate, just in terms of the, as you know, I'm a huge supporter of gardens and
Yeah.
natural spaces, I know, shocking.
I know.
And I have seen examples of this, and I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But I do worry in terms of, when you say if you're saying native species only, how are you policing that a little bit? And in terms of the township, when there is a complaint about noxious weeds, which I'm sure happens, who's addressing that? And I'm just putting this out
Yeah.
there so that when you
Yeah.
present the budget, this question comes up, this
Yeah.
might come up.
Yeah.
So how are we prepared to kind of have any ideas on how it could be managed? Because encouraging people to plant on their own space.
Yeah.
But the boulevard can cause some contentious issues with neighbors who don't view that as tidy.
Yeah,
Me, but
yeah. So I thought the signs may be helpful.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan.
No, sorry, I was cutting you. Like the signs are interesting and I think they're appetite. I think that the money should go more towards one, education, and two, maybe even consultation. Right, like in having a group of people and say, here's an example, or call us, I don't know whether it's a garden group or some, maybe a couple of us or something, out there a little bit, is you go and actually do one.
Yeah.
And you get a couple of them in there, right, and then you get people.
to buy in.
Yeah, more than just, here's what it is.
Yeah.
Almost stick a sign on it, like
Yeah.
actually
Yeah,
put some in.
yeah. I mean, I want to if I get permission.
Yeah, so two things from I think an education, like our social media and all that, it's all free, so that's not gonna cost anything. The way it would roll out is I've already kind of put the bug in Wayne's ear. We're gonna have a more wholesome talk about it. Wayne's the director of Public Works. So it just, these policies are already in several other places, we're not reinventing the wheel here, so they've already dealt with stuff like sight lines and the maximum heights, that type of thing. But getting comfortable with what do you allow in any line of sight in your sight triangles, all that kind of thing. So I think to your point, is how do we enforce it would be in the policy.
Right.
Other things like, so noxious weeds, county gets involved with that too. We have mechanisms for that. Unsightliness can fall under property standards. Knowing probably the people who are gonna put these in, hopefully will be the type that, like, you're
Right.
gonna maintain it and won't do it if they. But if they put it in, somebody and the house flipped, the next person doesn't maintain it, we can deal with that under property standards, but I think that would be, we work on a policy, bring it to this committee, take a read, do we like this, do we need to tweak anything? That's how I kind of see that unfolding.
And then we can tell also for people don't know, one of our garden boxes can be boulevard box, so it's plants that are suited for, they're not gonna get too high, they're not gonna be killed by like excess salt and snow. They're not gonna be overly aggressive.
Maybe you should have one of those boxes called the boulevard box.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, or package, but we're not gonna use the word box,
Yeah.
we're gonna use the word bundle.
More.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's essentially that proposal, just as a way to try to get people to kind of green their space and bring back biodiversity. Particularly, I think you can do that anywhere, but particularly when we're having so many new homes built, and I think that what that does is it just kind of creates a habitat for all of the things that lived there before, and we can start welcoming them back.
And also like at the Earth Day, that's a good opportunity to really have people
Yeah.
about this, see pictures, to throw it through around, because people need, I think that would help.
Oh, visuals, yeah, big time. Otherwise, you know, those people who do the Lego flowers in the front steps.
Those people. But I would certainly be, I would like to, if we can get approval, start my Boulevard Garden this fall. Like, I'm not gonna plant anything, but start preparing the site, so we have pictures. Like, so people can actually see like what one looks like.
I think it'd be better to go collect them from where they exist, if you want, for this fall. If you want pictures.
Oh,
Like,
I
you
see
know,
what you're saying, so go take a picture of,
Yeah,
yeah,
build an inventory of where they exist.
yeah, that's,
Because
yeah,
you're not gonna install one.
No, it's
and
just
have it-
basically gonna be
Have it
like-
show you
yeah.
enough for pictures, just,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Get the pressures off me to get that phone.
I can see the pan.
don't worry, I'll come up with something different.
Way too aggressive, way too aggressive.
What's the timeline for,
Oh, put the pressure back on.
just give us an idea.
So Wayne and I are probably gonna meet here in October to go over it. We got the other, policies from Colin Ferry.
Oh, yes, Colin McFerry water issues, but.
Yeah, so I flipped those two. He probably hasn't read them. We'll probably meet on it. I'm hoping by the end of the year. Which is, Chris, you approve?
There we go, at least it's stamp of approval, yeah,
So keep asking, where's that policy?
that's your job, Lisa, every week now.
You can go walk into Wayne's office.
You physically have to come here because we got no meetings left. And you don't want to keep them.
There we go. Great. And then just moving on again, these are essentially no budget impact things again, Earth Day community event. We're thinking about, I think, having that again on Earth Day, yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Great, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
when we get closer, I think probably first meeting in next year,
Yeah.
or whatever, we'll talk about size.
Yeah.
If we're comfortable with that, if we think it's gonna be a bit bigger with all these
Yeah,
things, but that's
Okay.
probably for next year.
okay, and then again, I just threw in the cost for $500, I don't know if that's what it's gonna cost, but that's what we had in our budget last year. I don't think we ended up spending any of the money on communications, because we got hit with the ice storm right before Earth Day, so everybody was already, really, I think, up to their eyeballs with that. But this year, now we know we're gonna do it, we have our lessons learned, so we can produce perhaps more like educational materials. So I just threw that dollar amount in, just to try to account for that.
Yep.
Okay, and then, so the next one is again a policy, I don't know, a policy or a bylaw, about looking at summer watering restrictions.
We have a bylaw, right?
Do,
We do. It's an old one,
okay,
but there is a bylaw.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who dug that one up?
I dug it out like 10 years ago.
really?
And then this summer we were looking at it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we have a bunch, lots of old bylaws to pick around. So we do have it.
Okay,
Maybe for our first meeting in next year, I can bring it. You can see if there's any comments of how we can make it better, but it's like a one pager.
is
It
it?
says like in the months of X to X, water shall be conserved, and it's very basic.
Okay,
Yeah,
If you're concerned, though, do we have enough bylaw officers to enforce that?
we got me.
Yeah.
We have myself and, so building and bylaw is, basically 3.5 people. 3 of us are building inspectors, 2 of us do bylaw as well. Yeah, the enforcement's always a tough thing. Because you have to have, and this is one of the things we can look at, there's no set fines to it. So you would issue them a letter saying you're not in compliance, but really if you don't have set fines, you're taking them to like
Yeah.
Superior Court or those type of courts with a summons and all that. It's a
Just
huge undertaking.
You just put the name on Facebook, let everybody else rip on
You could do that.
yeah.
Tell Kevin.
So, quick about water, because, and this is a touchy subject for people in the township water, especially in Milton, because of the water bill.
It's all about the water.
Talk about social media,
Mhm.
always a topic, right? Recently, it's been
Mm.
coming to the front, the voting. But there really isn't, it's not very punitive to overuse water. So the irony is what you're really paying for is the facilities, you pay a set fee, and then the water usage part of your bill. It really doesn't make a difference, like if you reduce your water by 50%, you're not reducing your bill in any kind of consequential way, right? Like it's inconsequential. So, I'm just bringing up that, it's hard to monitor water usage really for you as a bylaw. But in the actual water bill, which I know is a very contentious issue, so.
You want us to charge higher?
Not necessarily, no, but there is no drawback to just using lots of water, because most of your bill is on delivery.
Yeah.
So, actually conserving water, there's not a huge advantage to do that.
Mhm.
So, you can get rain drought and everything else, because people just, it's easier just put the hose on. So I'm just bringing it up as if you're looking at, sort of reinforcing the summer watering restrictions, actually looking at how that, can you reward people for conserving water in a sense?
I'm not
To
sure.
look at it as a positive.
Yeah, I'm not sure you need to anymore, like, if you look around, you look through the drought that we just had, I mean, almost everybody had a brown lawn. Alright, and when everybody has a brown lawn, it's fine, like, and the one person who's got the green lawn, that's the one everybody's looking at going, what are you doing?
But it's also inside the house, like it's not just gardening, like
Oh, yeah,
people
for
using
sure.
water,
Yeah.
without.
Yeah, so go ahead, Kyle.
I just did 2 things. Totally good point. The enforcement part would be like if we saw you watering your lawn,
Yeah,
we'd be showing up. If we were looking, or if we got a complaint, we'd show up saying, hey, we're in a drought, please show up, or blah, blah, blah. The second part is when we do our water rate studies, there is multiple scenarios that we can choose to opt into with a base rate at X and
Yeah.
putting more on the volume calculation. That is a decision every time that comes. Water rate study.
Yeah. It's literally about to kick off, I think, at the end of the month, I want
Yeah,
to
I think
say.
so.
I was just getting an update, council was
Yeah.
giving an update in the capital report stats, I just don't have it off the top of my head, I
Yeah.
think it's literally, they're doing a consultation session in next week, I wanna say.
It's coming.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's always an option. They always kind of present different formats.
right,
I do, if we, on page 41 of your package, and then going into page 43. I included 2 examples, one, was from Selwyn. So you'll see about halfway down the page on page 41. It says the township of Selwyn may add a $50 surcharge to water bill of residents who choose not to comply. And then you'll see really the limitation period is May 15th to September 15th, and they've got some time constraints in there about what time you can water essentially your lawn at, between basically over the summer months, so.
It was more, sorry,
Yeah,
but I'm like having
Yeah,
talk to people and sell it, right? The difference is really the odd and even numbering as well. Right?
yeah,
So that was the bigger thing, was like
Yeah.
which day of the week
Yeah.
you could actually water.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then the time is also equally important, because you get people who, if they do it in the middle of the day, like 60 to 70% of that's gone. And particularly when we know our water system may be under stress, and it's not necessarily due to anything that's within our control, it's just the regeneration rate of wells, right? Like that's just if there's no rain, you're gonna have to conserve water. And I think that is an important piece that perhaps people aren't aware of, is we've started to think of water as a commodity. It's like hydro, it's like gas. And as long as we pay for it, it's unlimited. But that's not the case with water. And I just think that it's our kind of societal responsibility to be careful with water and be respectful of how we use water. And I think when we talk about it like that, it helps people to maybe have more of an appreciation. Like, it's not necessarily a control thing. It's not that we want to make your life harder, but it's just, it's a natural resource. It's out of our control in terms of how much of it we have. And there will be times that we need to be more mindful of how we use it. So I mean, to your, like, there's, and the other example that I included here on page 43, which I really liked, I think this was Guelph. They have different levels that they, I guess essentially every year, all year long, maintain what water level are we at. So a 0 is you're good to go, a 1, exercise some caution, a red, we're in drought-like situation, you need to really conserve. So I also liked the way that their policy, but I just think it makes it more meaningful for people, like they start to understand, like, okay, we're good right now. We're approaching, maybe a period of caution, or it's very dry out, we have drought-like conditions, we need to conserve.
So the good thing about that is this is already done.
Yeah,
Like Orca already does it,
Mm.
right, and publishes it. So
Mhm.
really, so you don't even have to worry about, okay, who's making the call.
yeah,
Right, because it's done for you.
Yeah.
So we can get that information, kind of tailor it to, because it's more on the municipal level, right, than it is a user level.
Mhm.
For the most part, saying what it wants, right? But you can tailor that to kind of funnel it into like a user.
Yeah, that's a good point, because then it's less administration stuff for us to have to.
and
Yeah,
then it's not you guys aren't necessarily taking the discontent on by saying, okay, we're just gonna conserve water, like you
Mhm.
have this organization who's responsible to manage that using certain approved, techniques, so.
And the experts and
Yeah.
the scientists, and
Yeah.
they publish it, and everybody's supposed to abide by it.
I think to tie it back to education, right, Lisa, the day and whatever that we talk, I don't know if we really talked about water conservation much. Just maybe
No, yeah,
become more of a thing, and
yeah,
especially because of the drought we've been having, I'm assuming we'll probably have the same situation going forward.
yeah. And perhaps that's something we can talk about when we're planning our days. Do we wanna, instead of just having booths, do we wanna have a little speaker series, so someone from Orca can actually talk about this model and how they monitor it, and, and start helping people to understand just what happens to our water systems throughout the seasons.
Then you probably want to bump up your $500, because you probably want to pay some honorariums to some people, right?
That's a good point. Okay, any other questions or comments from the committee on that? Well, now we know, so we do have a bylaw, so now I think the plan is we can look at it as a committee
Yeah.
in January and see if it's all.
Oh, wait, do it November.
We don't have a committee meeting at all.
That's your pressure.
Takes diamonds, man.
Yeah.
Takes diamonds.
So the next suggestion, that I threw in here, I also, we included it last year on our city council, is considering establishing a climate change reserve fund. Many municipalities have this, they vary greatly in terms of how much is actually in the fund, how much they contribute on an annual basis. Something even as small as doing, I don't know if there's limitations on what you have to contribute to a reserve fund annually, or what you need to have to establish one. Even an amount say $500. That can be helpful. Theoretically, say we have another ice storm, we want to pump out some trees into the community. We can use the reserve fund for that if we have a drought. You know, there's opportunities to come up with programming or ways to help the community that we could leverage the reserve fund for. So really, the reserve fund is intended to, as a piggy bank for the municipality, to save money, put away money annually to fulfill their obligations under both the energy demand and conservation management plan and the climate change action plan. And I think that it makes sense now as well. I'm gonna leverage the strategic plan again, because it's, you know, one of our 6 priorities, and I think the community, like that stemmed from input from the community. So we know that, you know, that our engaged community members, environmental sustainability is important to them. So I just threw it out there. It's more maybe a question to get your thoughts on and staff's thoughts in terms of if it's anything you consider. Do you think that it would be beneficial? I don't know.
I think I'd have to think about this one, because and Ryan can speak to over the years, we've had lots of discussion about earmarking reserves and what the point of that is and what the use is going to be. I can say right now if it's a good or bad thing to do this. Like, we have emergency services, we have abilities to, if there's emergencies, to utilize funds, and so we always get into this of if we're setting funds aside for one specific thing where we can already fund that through other ways. I'd probably need to look into this a bit more. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, I was kind of on the same path. The thing would be, you'd almost have to have a goal, right, rather than just have it as a skiff, right, so that you could work towards it, and there's various ways to work towards it, right? Whether this committee asks for $500 a year, or we add, you know, $250 to every permit that goes out there, you know, it goes into it, or whatever. I just threw that number out there, just whatever, you know what I mean? But you'd have to have something for it, like, you know, otherwise, as you said, like, the next term of council would come along and say, what do I have this reserve fund? Let's dump it over here.
But we don't have any money earmarked to achieve any of our goals in the climate change action plan.
Well, then that's what we'd be tying into, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you can tie it to something, then you can start to figure out how to fund it, what it is, but it will take some thought.
For sure.
Yeah, because, and that, again, exactly, I think just more thought, because when I just start walking through examples, like if one of the climate change action plan is to do energy audits on our
Yeah.
facilities, well, we budget for that through facilities operationally. Capital upgrades, we already fund through there, so
Yeah.
we just gotta we'd have to know what's not already being funded and what couldn't be funded through other means. Because generally council doesn't like earmarking things unless they have a very specific purpose, like if we start putting money towards a medical center to build a medical center, we've got a very specific thing that we don't have money set aside already for, so we just gotta look at, climate change can go so many different routes.
Well,
And
I
we
think
already
that
have
the
a
thing is
mechanism.
it's the unknown, right?
Yes.
And looking at like Hamilton's, their climate change reserve, and now I do appreciate that they're much, much larger than us. Peterborough also has a climate change reserve fund. And it's really kind of like, they also have like public works and, you know, their Parks and Rec and all the other departments that have probably been doing projects of this nature, but it's a way, I think, both to demonstrate to the community we are taking this goal of environmental sustainability as something that really truly is a priority. And yes, we have our committee, and the committee's doing amazing things, but we never know. I think that's the uncertainty of climate change. We never know when something is going to happen, or when we may need funds for something, or you know, things change at different levels of government, and then all of a sudden climate change action plans, there's a real push to start delivering those programs, and then where do we get the money
Where do
from?
we get the money from? No, I think it's a great idea. I think we just need to think about it.
Yeah,
But
and I think that's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
all I'm asking is, let's start having the conversations about it, and let's think about how we can really, you know, demonstrate with actions and money that, yeah, like we're committed to this priority, and this is, you know, meaningful to our community.
I have a question.
Mhm.
If the rain barrels don't sell and we have all this approved budgeted money for it, where does that money go after?
It goes back.
So,
And
but,
Oh, I
it
agree.
gets- or it gets rolled over to your next project.
So it wouldn't necessarily come back to this project though.
Not
but
necessarily.
it could
goes
go
to
into a
trust.
reserve if we establish it.
Not for committees. Committees not to, but
Not unless you set up,
No,
they're to be funded that way. or
so you can, the better option would be you charge, you know, $25 for a tree and take $5 of the reserve. Then you can start to build a reserve. A lot easier.
Yeah, I think that the reserve to me, we just have to really know. Cause when we go to council and there's a tax rate increase of X, what is this for?
You know,
Unknown at this time isn't usually a great answer, so we have to say it's for X, and then we gotta make sure that's not already something we cover off here, so there's, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I think it's a good idea, just more thought and how that might unfold.
But it allows possibly the committee to think about bigger scale
absolutely.
goals.
I lost track.
Watch this video, like maybe we can actually raise revenue, that'd be great.
Come back to us.
If we raise revenue, do we keep revenue, like this committee? We have to hand it back.
Yeah, right, everything goes back, based on my understanding of, I had a, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just for the committee to know, basically, everything stays within the bucket for the year for like the designated spending. Any surplus just goes into a general fund, I believe, and for any spending to be redirected, let's say there is leftover money from the Rainbow program, you would literally need a council motion to redirect the
To
spending.
roll it over.
Yeah,
Just ask the heritage.
yeah, they had a different problem with their project, just the difficulty getting stuff across the line.
I picked up their train switch from London for them.
Did
Yeah.
you? Awesome.
Talking about projects that will get done, that's a good one.
Great. And then again, the last bullet here is, sorry guys for this organization. The last bullet here is a tree bylaw. I know that we do have a tree canopy bylaw. I also understand that we're working on a wood, woodland,
Management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is great. I think you guys all know that I get really sad when we cut down, probably a lot of people do, these big, beautiful, mature trees. So the question in my mind is always, how can we encourage people to not cut down all these trees? How can we, if we're having new developments, leave some trees in place? How can we encourage people to, if they do cut down a tree, you gotta replace it? Like, these are some of the questions that exist in my mind. But I'll hand it over to Kyle, because you look like you have something
Yeah, we have, just this morning, so.
inspiring to say.
I don't know if it's inspiring. I think it's good. So again, we're a small community with pretty limited bylaw enforcement, so we also have to keep in mind what can we enforce. And having a tree bylaw that is similar to like City of Peterborough, where you're requiring a $350 permit for each tree, we're not gonna be able to enforce that here. Because not a lot of people are gonna come here looking for a permit for that. If they don't, you have to be ready to enforce that. So do we have the ability to enforce every tree here? Definitely not, but I think, so Matt Wilkinson, the planner, and I have been working on him more, so I shouldn't take credit for him. He just asked me questions and I answered. But this woodland management bylaw for quite some time, and we think it's gotten to a point that it's going to be very useful. It definitely covers clear cutting. So development clear cutting, that's one thing we definitely want to stop. That's happening in other areas, Kingston, areas like that. Where developers might have something 5 years out, they clear cut an area, and then when they come in for that development 5 years later, they don't have to do any environmental impact studies because there's no trees there, they're long gone. That's the type of thing we're trying to stop within this, but we are identifying not every tree, but there's a lot of mechanisms in there where we have clusters of 5 that are definitely going to be, we have enforcement measures in there. So kind of the idea, there's a lot of exemptions for typical rural land uses, like for firewood, if you have a reasonable reason you're removing a tree, you're probably going to be exempt in there. if you already have a woodlot management plan where you're thinning out and you're over and above and you're doing the things we want you to do, you're exempt. But kind of the scenarios where you're not cutting down the trees for a good use is like, I have a nice hill here and there'd be a beautiful view if I just took out these 30 trees here. Something my family members might do. I have the exact example, that's what I think of it. That type of thing we could enforce
Yeah,
through this, and we're trying to tie it into things that don't create an administrative burden on us already, so we're trying to do a lot of it through building permits. Where you would get this type of scenario, we're gonna put up a garage here, I wanna take out these trees. Well, what kind of to walk, and we have a whole presentation on it, we could arrange to do it sometime. We would go, okay, well, you have, and it's more trees that are tying into a more significant woodland, not just a couple random trees here and there, but even so, if we identify, okay, you have 4 significant trees there, that if you put that garage in, we're going to lose. Can you protect them? Can you move it out? If it comes down to the fact based on setbacks and septic and stuff, I have to move those, then it's okay, it's a 1-for-1. You need to plant 2 more over here. So we're trying to do a number of things in this bylaw that we think we can enforce and we have the ability to administer. So I think it's going to be pretty good. At the same time, we want to get council buy-in, so we can't be too restrictive, where it's just creating more impact on taxes, because now we're going to need another bylaw officer. We're going to restrict, typical land uses. We're not trying to restrict any type of rural agricultural uses for cutting down trees. We're just trying to get at the ones that aren't necessary, that shouldn't be cut down. And
Okay.
yeah, so it's kind of the idea.
The one I've seen enforced in Toronto, and it's not even so much as it's enforced, but if there's a significant tree,
Mhm.
what they do is they fence it, so you can't go within a certain area of it. While you're doing whatever construction you're doing, right? So you're saving a tree on the spot and you're making sure equipment doesn't back into it, or you don't tangle those roots and brush its roots and things like that, right? So there is a perimeter that's put up around, more mature trees
Mhm.
while you do whatever construction, right?
So that's going to be in there. So that's, so if you come in to do that construction, if we recognize that we have what's called a land use inquiry, for all our building permits now. It's been great because it reduces your time to get a permit, but it's your pre-zoning check. So as soon as you get an idea, I want to do something on my property, you fill out a land use inquiry, goes to our planning department, pretty quickly, they send it back to you saying, here's what you're zoned, you can do this, It's going to be another check to see the tree. So it'll say, you've got a bunch of trees here, how are you? If you are going to protect them, what's your protection plan? Well, we're going to rope them off, we're going to do whatever to make sure nobody goes near those. So the protection plan is going to be something that we require, just to say, how are you protecting those trees? But if it's far enough away from them that they're not impacted.
Yeah, like the ones I've seen in Toronto, they actually, like, there is like a plywood wall they put around them. And they have they staple the permit on it, the tree protection permit, saying this tree is protected and have to have that on site.
Yeah, I wonder if that's are those for designated trees?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's just mature trees.
Just mature trees?
Yeah.
Just to protect the root base and.
Yeah, so it's enough around it to protect the root base. And then it's, the same as you have a building permit, like it's a tree protection permit,
Yeah.
like on that structure.
Yeah.
That's built around the tree. It's not just like, there's a tree here, protect it. It's like, here, you do not go in this while you're constructing.
I like that. even
Don't
though-
disturb any of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I'm happy we had the conversation, and I'm hoping that maybe in January, because you're already busy leading up to January. We could talk more about it, or the committee could get the opportunity to maybe have you walk us through it and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll talk to Matt about, cause he's already made a presentation, cause
Okay.
we've tried to make it thin it out as much as we can. But he's also developed a presentation that really just spells it out better, because if you read through it, by the end, you need to read through it maybe 5 times, but his presentation is great, so I'll see how we can
Okay.
present that without having a committee meeting.
I mean, if we need to call a special committee meeting, if staff think
Yeah.
it's necessary, to consult the committee or, on the bylaw, the clerks will find a way to make it work.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, great. And then the last thing, and then we're done, is I just included it up here because it was on our work plan. The last time we had talked was we're still looking at opportunities to update their
Yep.
plan, our
Yep.
energy demand conservation management plan. which will stem out of the data analysis work that you did at LDAPO.
Yeah, and there, a whole bunch of grants keep coming up, so we, once we get some budget for that for 2026, we'll definitely be looking at a grant and, yeah, the quote itself without a grant looks pretty good already, so I was happy with it, cause half the work's done.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so I think if you guys want any additional information, there's lots in here. I tried to include examples from other municipalities. And there was one, I think, you raised a point about, what are the types of things that should be allowed on a boulevard garden. I included a plant list from Nature Conservancy Conservatory Ontario. It has a list of native plants where you can plant them and how to care for them. So that can be something that's a free guide. Lots of other municipalities have this linked on their website. That's something that we can leverage to try to support the education and awareness component of that program. Do any of you guys have any questions before we move on? Any input, any ideas that maybe these are just kind of things that we've all kind of had different conversations about over the year and ideas that have come together. But I don't know if maybe has any ideas you want to table or any suggestions or anything that I'm thinking.
I have something I'd like to ask. It seems somewhat simple, but bureaucratically, perhaps it's not. But there's nice recycling bins at either end of the station trail. But there's none by Meds Mountain or Needler's Mill. And there's none downtown. And I know people are walking downtown with takeout things and I end up picking them off my lawn. So, which is fine, but I feel like sometimes I'm down, like I want to recycle this, but I have nowhere to put it. Can we add some bins to the around town a few places?
So yes, we do just have the two at Station Trail, the rest are garbage receptacles all around town. We do have recycle at Maple Leaf Park, but yeah, it's mostly garbage receptacles everywhere.
Is it possible to add a few around town? Is that a big?
It is costly, yeah, it could be something we could look into for the budget.
Is that something for Needers Mill, that area? I mean, when the arena. gets
Yeah,
built,
so
that's
because we
being
need,
redeveloped.
we need like decent bins like that are on Station Trail, because as soon as somebody throws garbage in it, it's contaminated, it goes to the garbage. So yeah, you do need the proper receptacles, which are fairly pricey, and yeah, and there is, so downtown, you'll notice we have all the same garbage cans, so there is, it's sort of a set design, sort of, yeah, so we could look into, recycling bins as well.
Yeah, I know that like Port Hope, for example, they look the same as we
Yeah.
have. One's black, one's blue, like just
Yeah.
the ring at the top, so you know which one. I'm sure they're constantly contaminated. I
Yeah,
don't know how you
the
fix
issue with
that, but-
this, all these garbages, like they get hit really hard, people in cars, and
Yeah.
so everything ends up contaminated, so we'd have to find a bin that somehow you just only get recycling into or paper into without, without a box of French fries going in and then it's contaminated recycling, right? It is a tough one to do in a setting like that, yeah.
I have a question about sort of forward thinking, in terms of sustainability also pertaining to just quality of life, right? And people can sustain a life in the north as they age. It's over there, person, basically said that. And I know that there's a fair amount of federal grants anyway and provincial for, transportation. So in this community, if people can't drive and as they're aging in place, community care provides some transportation with volunteers and to community care. But, it's a long-term thing, but maybe we should also look at how do people connect to Peterborough, they're elevating, they can't drive as the community's getting older. So it's just looking at sustainability outside of just environmental. I mean, it is environmental in that people can have like their entire life in their community, and so.
And transportation's all.
So, no, you go ahead.
Go ahead. I was
I
gonna
get
say,
three things. You go ahead.
transportation's also in the strategic plan as a priority.
Eh, good. How many times you read the strategic plan?
Just once.
Yeah, sure.
Some days my mind astonishes me.
So that was one of them, still on fire. But we staffing is looking at transportation. I say that quietly because we got other
Yeah.
priorities, but we are under the table constantly looking at it. Myself and the economic development officer are very interested in it. We've actually met with community care on what options are out there. We've met with City of Peterborough on what options are out there. And there's currently a county study that's out there for funding
Yeah.
that we're partnering into to get more feedback there too. So we're on it right now. But you're right, sustainability, we kind of made it a general term because,
Yeah.
and we can kind of put anything in there. But we can keep you updated when we know, but we're definitely looking into it because it's a
It
big
is
item
really
right now.
big,
Yeah, yeah.
Streetcars,
Pardon me?
we get streetcars.
Well, it's not just more that connection to medical facilities and everything.
100%, yeah. So,
And also bringing workers in, so that's the other thing, right?
yep. So the worker bus has came up because Bridget, who was on the committee, she knows all about that. So we're kind of looking again, because we're recorded, not super
Yes.
top priority, but we are looking into it. Even stuff outside the box, like what's the cost of if we have our own small bus that connects all the other transit to the GO to Pedro, like how would that work? So we're looking at a lot of options right now.
Right.
Once we get something good and
Yeah, there's also the, you know, a little bit longer term is the high-speed train. And so when a station goes in there, their concept is to have shuttles to connect to it, right? So when you connect to it, then you connect to where other shuttles are connecting from it, right? So it becomes a bill for the transit hub as well.
Yeah, but that's a great.
Awesome, so
idea
just
here, yeah.
more that we kind of look at sort
Yeah.
of a broader scope of
Yeah.
sustainability going forward.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll rely on you for that.
Yeah, anything you want to bring to this table to inform anything that new initiatives you hear or anything, we're definitely looking into it, yeah, to
Have you ever discussed eco roofs in township? Like incentive.
Green
for
roofs or
eco- Yeah,
something?
or like cool roofs or green roofs.
So, we talked, I mean, I'm in the building department, we talk about that type of stuff all the time. Pros and cons to all of them, can some roofs take them, you need, like, with eco roofs, if we're talking green roofs, how many flat roofs do you have? We have one here, you're into a big cost, we've had various estimates on some of them, so long-term paybacks of all of them, I mean, it's a big topic, so we've definitely discussed it. And
But
we
you
come
get
to
your
this,
certification, you're all good.
what's that? Yeah. So, yeah, so we've kind of discussed everything, but we can open up anything at this table if you want to discuss.
As know in Toronto, there's a bunch of incentives, financial, so it makes it way cheaper to do. I don't know if Peterborough would ever offer that or provincially, or if we can find, you know, such a good program to have, if I know it's extremely expensive to do without any incentives. So
Mhm.
rebates without,
But then if we establish our climate change reserve fund, that's the type of project that, you know.
Yeah.
That could aid us in with grants and funding some of these more costly initiatives.
Yeah, higher up, not to put on higher up,
Yeah.
but provincial and federal funding would need to kick in
Mhm.
to really incentivize it. We can really afford to that, because you're talking big dollars, but, yeah, open to the ideas.
Lisa? Anything?
Can the committee support the transportation exploration at all? Or like, can we help with that?
Yes, probably, yeah. Can I get back to you on how?
Yeah, by.
I see the 2026, I don't, it's just gonna be all date.
No, yeah, you can go back anytime.
Yeah, let me think about it, because we're. I don't know how, like, I don't want to, something that you can definitely support it just by saying we'd like to support the transit, but, yeah, I mean, we're looking at everything, all funding models and provincial grants, anything, because there's a lot of stuff that comes out with transit, but it's more for, subways and bigger stuff in higher density areas.
If like we notice anything that sort of grants out there or anything, can forward them to you? just
For
to
sure,
look at?
100%, yeah. We're usually looking at that, we've got a, grant company that keeps us informed,
That's
but
right.
sometimes they, you know,
Yeah.
you might see something before we do, so definitely send it anytime, yeah, on any topic, yeah.
You know, what's kind of funny on that topic, right, is in more developing countries, like you have like these private bus operators. You know, if you've ever been to any of the Caribbean islands, they
Yes.
sit around with their tootie horns, or, you know, African countries, and and that's how they solve it. Like it's all, it's not government run,
Mhm.
it's private enterprise. You pay whatever that bus driver asked you to pay to get on his bus, right?
Well, that's the thing that we came right out of the gates, we kind of got hit with the wall because there's a busing shortage here, like in the schools,
Yeah.
busing, like they're hurting, and so. It was kind of like, we're trying to figure out how we're going to keep our own buses going. We're not really at a spot we can support you, so I don't know what the problem there is in our economy with,
It's just.
Somebody needs to start it up.
Economy.
Yeah.
It's a major piece of.
Both
Development.
having insurance, like,
Well, I think we've said like that. Actually.
yeah,
maybe you could just get the puppy bus to also keep.
Yeah, really.
that's.
You bust off.
Yeah,
I
but
would
like, how do
totally
we pair with
ride
that?
that. I would go be bus. Sure, just as a little morning pick me up, with my coffee, just get on there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Just
love it.
dogs.
I know. I love it when I drive, when I see her drive by my house, I'm on the porch, they're all just in there, they're in their little seats, and they look like they're not, like they're smiling.
It would be.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful,
I don't think that's possible.
yeah. Okay, great, did you have anything else you wanted to add in or talk about before we move on?
The only thing I wanted to add to it was, and we talked about this once upon a time too, is. And you can see it on, like even on Ann Street, we talked about the much more mature trees are coming to the end of their life. Right, and, you know, and we're trying to replace them on, you know, in the urban areas, so I know they put a couple on your street and they didn't make it.
They weren't watered.
They didn't make it, but, you know, it'd be nice to replace those. But on a bigger scale, you look down, like, and I'll use the county road, for example, like even just heading out of Millbrook, like there's probably a dozen dead trees. You know, and there's no replacement tree for them. You know what I mean? So like these, you know, classic country roads, you know, with the big fall foliage are disappearing.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be good to have something in place to kind of start, you know, recycling that. Like you come up with 115. I know it's not our jurisdiction, I get it, right? But there's more dead trees than live ones at the edge of farm fields.
Yeah.
You know, and that's gonna take away from, you know, migratory paths, you name it, and the whole rest of it.
And speaking of Ann Street, as a resident there, just noticing, not, we've had a maple tree die.
Mhm.
We thought. That whole.
The whole row of them
It rolled
it's
them.
gone, like it's
They're-
changing that
at end
streetscape.
of life, right? It's not that anyone's damaged them. and-
They're just old, man,
Yeah.
they're done, right? But getting into that proactive and getting those, you know, younger, you know, less mature trees in place. So they will take over as these trees disappear, has always been kind of something that I thought should be looking at. Right, otherwise we're gonna end up with, you know, highways with no trees on them, or. And I say highways, but you know what I mean, like just even our own roads.
They're highways under the traffic.
Yeah, I know they are.
How are you foreseeing that?
Well, that's the question, like, I know I talked to Wayne about it once upon a time, right, and said, you know, maybe. Cause it just falls to the wayside, right, it gets trapped in, you know, we run down the side of these roads with big mulchers and knock everything down, right? But at the same time, you gotta start putting some of these things back more strategic, and I don't know if that's a public works thing. Or whether it's we lean on public works to take it into consideration, you know, and the other part of it that I talked about
Yeah,
before is. Maybe we take a piece of municipal property we have somewhere and actually start to grow our own trees. Maybe that makes it easier, right? So that when we have trees that are the right size, we just pick them up and move them.
and that would be your job too,
That'd be
Right.
great.
yeah.
Okay, you want a date, deadline?
Right, so just kind of build our own inventory of trees that we can pick up and use. You know, assuming, I can't even think what property would use, like, but you know what I mean, like
Mhm.
actually have. So when you have your trees that you're sitting out here trying to water, stick them in the ground,
Mhm.
let them grow. You know, then go harvest them later when we need them.
Do we selectively harvest, trees on municipal property?
You can ask Bill.
Fire station.
Um,
There was some selective harvesting going on there.
Yeah.
I would say to the first point on the tree,
Mhm.
the replacement. I think we should spearhead that as opposed to leave that to Public Works.
Mhm.
Not that Public Works isn't going to do, but the amount of stuff they always have, it's just gonna keep falling by the
Yeah, so
wayside.
that's kind of why I'm bringing it up
Yeah,
here.
okay, yeah, so I think if we should come back maybe next meeting with. Some kind of initiative, but I don't know if it's a budget consideration that you wanna think of right now.
Our budget, like I think it should fall in the public works budget, but they need that push. Right?
And so all these trees you're thinking are in the boulevard as opposed to on the private properties?
Yeah, they're all,
Yeah.
like, it would be
All boulevard, yeah.
technically our trees.
Yeah.
Right, and then like all you gotta do is like go up 10 or go down any of these.
Yep.
roads. I know those are county roads again, so it doesn't really help, but you just see
We're using it.
skeletons of the trees, right?
Mhm.
If you use Ann Street as example.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, one thing is though, you need to have a plan in place to water those trees,
Mhm.
because the residents maybe don't want a boulevard tree. And, the two that were planted were very mature trees and they
Done.
did not make it. And that wasn't the shivers, not the shivers. So
I know.
it wasn't even the drought.
Yeah, they should have water bags on them and most of this.
And filled, like there were water
Yeah.
bags, but they were empty.
They just, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, this.
They need to come
Then
down to
it was one
establish,
thing,
right?
but to establish them, has to be part of the work plan for managing them. Otherwise, you're just throwing,
Money out the window.
yeah.
So we're saying that, this is something that this committee should champion, but not necessarily, request budgetary, amounts for.
Yeah, like I can go bang on Wayne's door all I want, but it helps
Yeah.
if I have a few people.
No, for sure.
sure.
I'll call them.
And just to talk about the sort of managing the trees once
Yeah.
they're planted, because it is actually a lot of work
And
and
there's, yeah,
another burden on an already overstretched.
yeah,
Is having a community adopt a tree and manage the tree.
That's,
that's a good idea.
that's what's going on, but yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to think of, I feel like there's a better option to make sure, like,
Sure, yeah.
again, if we push that it happens.
Yeah.
To make sure, because even Chris's guys do a lot of watering, they're already,
Absolutely.
yeah, so how do we get the community more involved in a more engaging, positive way of, hey, we got this initiative, we're replacing this.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah,
So
we just need
adopt
to
a
think
tree,
about it,
not
yeah.
classroom adopt a tree, or just, I'm just thinking.
I like the adopt a tree, because you can plant it, somebody locally adopt this tree, keep it,
Yeah.
but then, I guess if it dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're off the nest,
Anyways, we could spin that to be a more of a positive,
Yeah.
another education thing at the same time, yeah.
Well, we are the idea train today.
Geniuses.
Geniuses.
Pat or something.
Yeah, to get t-shirts that say geniuses.
Sustainability geniuses.
I love it.
Kevin Monaghan.
Yeah.
Sustainability genius.
Can we get those for Earth Day? Can I wear them?
Throw another $100 and we got t-shirts.
Okay, so I guess, we had really great ideas for the budget. I made some modifications to your motion. Thank you for what we. talked
No, no,
about, so
it's okay.
And if we don't have anything else, we don't have anything else, okay? I'll just sum it up here with a motion for our sustainability 2026 budget request. That the Sustainability Advisory Committee request for the 2026 operating budget, $15,000 in total for for sustainable community initiatives, including $3,000 for the Rain Barrel program, $3,500 for the residential tree planting program, $6,000 for a native plant garden package / bundle program, $500 for a boulevard garden program, and $2,000 for a community Earth Day event. I bumped up the Earth Day numbers because we talked about if we want to have speakers, whatnot. So I can have a mover and a second for that. Moved by Mary, thank you. Second by Lisa, thank you. All in favor? Yes. And that's been carried. So now the last thing on our agenda is a super quick 2026 meeting. Okay, sorry, you guys, I'm getting tired and that wasn't listening to meeting schedule. 4 meetings, and then as Mark said, we'll add in additional meetings if we need to. We're keeping on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Is that a good time and day for everybody? Working so far?
Oh, June 25th.
Yeah. You can get back to us on that.
Alright.
And if this is okay, there's no suggestions, then I'll look for a mover and a seconder on a motion to approve our Sustainability Advisory Committee meeting schedule for 2026. Moved by Lisa, seconded by Mary, all in favor? With that's carried, and then we'll move for an adjournment, unless, does anyone else have anything before we adjourn? No, perfect, okay, so a mover and a seconder for an adjournment. Moved by Mary, Thank you, second by Mike, all in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you. Thanks everybody for your time. That's disconnecting us next.
Yes, indeed.
As opposed to a deadline, now you get a question.